Hello, my name is Wayne. I am your friendly local DCO, and I am here today to talk to you all about Jamboards. Now, if you haven't seen Jamboards, this is such a great tool for students to use. It's actually a really simple tool, and it is really elegant in its simplicity because it allows you to do so much. And it's probably the closest thing that the G Suite has to a whiteboard. So as always, we're starting on our landing page here. Come over to the Organize column in the middle here, and then let's scroll down to Jamboards, and let's click on that and go. Now you'll see that I've got a lot of Jamboards here all ready to go. But if you want to start a new one, here's what you do. You come down here to the orange button down the bottom and you click plus to start a new one, and that will load up a new Jamboard. What I'm going to do first is walk you through some of the tools and features of Jamboard. As you can see on this one here, it just starts with a blank canvas, and this is how every new Jamboard starts. Up the top here, you've got your slide deck, and if you would like to add in more slides, you can do that, or frames rather. And then to rearrange these, you can drag across and change it. So you can quite easily rearrange your slides. Up here in the traffic lights, you've got duplicate or delete. So if you've accidentally made a mistake, you can delete one. Just a reminder, before you hit that delete, you're not able to bring it back. So please make sure that you use that sparingly. Or you can duplicate a slide. Now, it's really important to note that you can duplicate slides in Jamboard, but you can't duplicate a whole Jamboard. So just bear that in mind when you're setting up work for students where you want them to work in Jamboards. Now, you've got your undo and redo buttons up here. You've got a zoom feature. You can set the background. So if you wanted to use Jamboard to perhaps model some handwriting, you can do that. Or you can clear the frame so that erases the entire whiteboard of anything that's on there. But I know that that's not the best handwriting template. So what we could do is you can set the background to an image, and it's got all of our usual suspects along the top here. Let's go and do a Google image search, and let's say handwriting template blank. Let's have a look and see if that brings up something for us. Now, we do have a couple of options. You could find a handwriting template, or you might have one saved. But say that was the correct one. We just set as frame background, and that will actually update our whole background, and we can write on top of that. So you can actually model some of this to your students. Down along the left-hand side here, we've got our row of tools, our little toolbox. Now we've got the pen here, and we can select from paintbrush, pen, highlighter, all of these things, and just a limited set of colors. Remember, this is really simple, but it's that simplicity that makes it so easy to use. So if we had a blue pen, and I've got a touch screen, so I'm going to scribble across there. So you can use all of those pen tools on there. You've got an eraser. Now, this is just a pixel eraser. It will only erase the pixels that you're touching. It won't have a stroke eraser. You've got a pointer or a cursor, so that you can point to things on screen. You've got sticky notes on here. Now, my favorite color is pink, so let's do that. And all you do, so you can type into your sticky notes. You can't write on your sticky notes in here just yet. And then to get out of that, simply click off. Once your sticky note is on, you can select it, you can make it larger, smaller, you can shuffle it around. These are really great for children who are spelling and doing word sorts. Different bits and pieces like that is really great. Now you can edit, duplicate, or delete those as well. So select it, and then using your traffic icon, you can also spin them around. Once again, this is another place for us to upload the images. Before, when I showed you from up the top, that was setting our background image, so we can draw across the top of that, we can put things on top, and that's going to stay put. If we were to insert an image now, let's say we might go from the camera, we'll take a photo of this gorgeous specimen, and we can insert that into there. Oh, there we are, got that. Oh, it's a terrible photo, but that's okay. And then you can start to move that around. Whereas see, if I click on my background image, that stays still. So that's the difference between inserting an image from here and setting the background image, even though those upload screens or those insert screens look exactly the same. You've also got some shapes that you can put in here, very, very simple shapes, but I'll show you why those can be quite a powerful tool later. Then you've got a text box, so you can start to label your shapes perhaps, or add in instructions. Really similar to how I used to use Smart Notebook. You can set some of these things up, or you can set a template for your students to work on. And then, of course, the most fun tool is the laser pointer, where we can point with a laser and then it disappears. Really great for highlighting key parts of any type of text that you've got in here. Now, if I want to rename this, we'll call this one the example. Great. That is done. If I want to go back to my Jamboard, I just want to show you an example of how I've set one up and have used that with other people and how you might like to use it with your class. Now, remember when I said you can't duplicate a Jamboard? So if I come into here, all I've got is rename, download as a PDF, and delete or remove. I actually can't duplicate a whole Jamboard. So you can't set up one template and then duplicate it for different students or duplicate it for different groups, which is how I would use Jamboard because it's such a collaborative tool. So just bear that in mind, is that even though you can duplicate within the Jamboard, you can't duplicate the whole Jamboard. Now, this is an example of a Jamboard that I used with a large primary school, and we were working with the teachers. So you can see up the top here, we've got all of the different frames or the different slides, and we can click along here. So here's an example of where I'm going to use the laser pointer. So exciting. Here's an example of how I've used the shapes to give a row of instructions, and it comes down here and goes along there. So there we are. You could have something similar like this as well. On this slide, I got the teachers to use the note tool, and then they just got to share their ideas. So you can see how this works for adults here, and it works in exactly the same way that you could use it in your classroom. You could have some prompt questions. You could have an image and ask the students to write a sentence or two about the image as a springboard into creative writing. You could get students to sort numbers. You could get students to sort words. As you're getting up into the older grades and you're looking for that higher order literacy stuff, you could have students sort words not via spelling rule, but perhaps via its a point of origin or the number of syllables that are in there. Look, and I am a primary school teacher, but if you're a high school language teacher, perhaps you could get students to do a word sort as well to learn their vocab. As we come along, you can see that there are a couple of different tools. So again, another way, I just set a chalkboard. I set a corkboard as the background here with some instructions, and then asked teachers to come up with what they thought their own day would look like at school. Again, just using that noteboard feature. And toward the end, I did ask our teachers to try to upload a photo, but again, you can see, so you could get your students to upload photos of their learning or themselves. But this is a really, really powerful tool. Now, in order to share this work, really, really simple, same sharing features that we've got with all of our G Suite. You can either share it with individual students or teachers, or you can use a link. So what we could do, if you wanted to post this into your Google Classroom for your students, you'd change it to New South Wales Department of Education and you'd make them an editor. If it were just a set of instructions, you could change it to viewer. Now, excuse me, it is easy to create more multimodal texts in here with words, images, and handwriting, and that might be what you're after to do that. Perhaps you've got an example of some work that you've done with your students. Maybe you've modelled how to write a text, or you've modelled how to do some addition or subtraction or multiplication, and you could keep that in there and you could post that into your Google Classroom. You could also download it as a PDF and post it to your Google Classroom as well. So there are lots and lots of options between viewer and editor. So just bear in mind that if they are an editor and you've set this up as a template for your students, they can move instructions around, they can do all of that. So you will need to make sure that you teach your students how to be great digital citizens. I hope you have enjoyed this video today. Like I said, it's a really, really simple tool, Jamboards, but it's such a powerful one. Have time, experiment with your children in your classroom. Run through this with your students. Learn it together. I'm sure that you and they will both have a lot of fun in learning to use this tool. But thank you so much for your time. Happy Mardi Gras. It is Mardi Gras weekend. And have a great morning or afternoon wherever you're at in your day. Thanks for watching.